We're gonna live.
Yeah. We're living now, buddy.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
Let's see where we're at.
Come away with me in the night.
Oh, yeah. See, you won't even stop singing.
Little Nora Jones.
Whoa. Coming to theaters.
So that's what,
Can you give us one of those?
in a world.
Whoa.
This March, you'll see 5 men talking to 5 other men about cookies underneath the stairs.
I missed that. I wish they still had some of those. They don't do that at all anymore in movie theaters or movie trailers.
AI's taking all the cool jobs. In a world.
Oh, that was it. That was it. Oh, my God. We're bringing it back.
Well, that was wasn't that Pablo Francisco bit back in the day?
Get to the chopper.
In 5, 4, 3. Hey guys, how's it going? We're back. Nick Campbell here. And with me as always is
David Steele.
And we are
Rhythm and Wit. Yeah, this is the podcast, episode 40 of the Rhythm and Wit Podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss and explore the creative and artistic expressions of artists and performers in Oklahoma City and beyond.
Nice.
So today
we're here with Austin Slaughter. How are you doing, brother?
Welcome.
Dude, I'm so happy to be here. I'm doing really good. This is nice.
Yeah. I do want to let everybody know that Austin has been having
I blew my voice out, and I won't relax.
You just can't. You won't.
That's it.
You won't let it.
So you're getting the
ASMR versions of Austin Slaughter.
Dang, that's pretty solid. We'll go NPR with it. Okay. Hey, how's it going? How's it going? So I got a few things I want to ask you. First off, I want to say, glad to finally have you on.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, you were one of the first podcast. You were the first podcast I ever did. Whenever we did that over at your house,
I totally forgot about that.
until you met. We talked about
Yeah, well, I was 2 weeks into comedy, and you were like, "Hey, buddy, you want to come to my house?"
Yeah.
And you just invited a stranger to your house, so I appreciate that, man.
Hey, you got enough laughs for me to be like, okay, there's, and then you had a deep story where you come from a lineage of things where you were like, you have Ann's sons. Right on your so there's such a deep well of just human story
Something
in
there,
working with family. So.
Oh yeah.
What's the name of your podcast? I didn't know you had a podcast.
So I ran one called Riffing Austin for a while, which is still up. And then I just started 3 new ones recently with the Dipp Heads.
Yeah.
We have just the Dipp Heads pod, right? Then we started a D&D campaign.
Nice. On record it and all that.
It's been pretty great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we started another one called Small Town Insecurity, which is solely based off of the AMC reality TV show Small Town Security. Takes place in Ringgold, Georgia. They had 2 seasons. It was 2012, 2013. And we decided to hate watch it one night on Tubi.
Yeah.
And we were captivated by these people. We were like, this is wild. Okay, I relate to this. This is so unfortunate. Oh, look at all these trash bags. People. And so we just decided to start a podcast based off of that.
That's cool. That's a good idea.
It's got 2 episodes out. It's called Small Town Insecurity.
So it's about the show specifically?
It's us
like
breaking it down.
Nice.
And
on Tubi? It's just like a random...
It's a Tubi show. It used to be on AMC.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. There's a lot of stuff on Tubi that you can watch now. I mean, it's like it's becoming a bigger streaming service.
Yeah.
It's
have a lot of stuff.
Can anybody put anything on Tubi? Is that where it's at? Like, it's just like you submit it?
At one time, I
Yeah,
believe
I
it
think
was
so,
like
right?
that. I
Yeah.
do think it was like that.
Yeah.
And I think you can almost start your own. Like at this point, I think it's just you can start a channel on Roku. Isn't that what you can do?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Well, anyways,
we
we'll
could-
look into it.
We could put
We'll
one
look
on,
into it.
we put Rhythm and Wit on
Yeah,
Roku.
if you got enough,
Yeah.
if you have enough computer people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. It might be old
We'll
code.
figure it out.
I mean,
But okay, so dude, I really want to get into the D&D pod.
Yeah,
Do you want to go ahead and jump in that now?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
so
called Meat Shield.
Meat Shield. I love the premise of this. Can you explain the premise?
Yeah. Meat-Shield. It started with John Groth. It was also a newer comic.
All right, so we're playing 5th edition D&D for the nerds that eventually listen to this podcast are going to want to know. And then we're setting it in the world of Faerun, which is the pre-generated world of Dungeons and Dragons. You guys are starting in the city of Waterdeep, which all I'm going to tell you right off the bat is basically just think of it as magical New York. It's a really big city. Oh, shit. Jackson came fully prepared.
So magical.
So it's a big city. There's lots of opportunities for you guys to get up to mischief in the city. There are many parts of the city, and you'll meet many people as you go. I've given you all a sheet of blank paper, and Austin provided pencils. Take notes. I'm willing to tell you guys who somebody's name is a few times, but after a while, if you can't remember, that means your character can't remember, and therefore you're going to be rude in the game to people.
Oh, yeah.
So, which could lead to hilarity. So, exactly. So I suggest
Also,
you take
hey,
notes
Jack,
and.
you'll have to be on the mic whenever you're saying funny things. Otherwise, it's even more offensive.
He just recognized nerds, and he was like, "You guys want to try this?" And talking about the improv side of all of that, and then Joel or Stinky Johnson was like, "I don't know what that is. It sounds dumb. I don't want to do it."
Yeah.
The D&D.
And then John was like, "I'm gonna write this in such a way where he thinks he's messing it up, but he's going to make this one of the best D&D campaigns ever."
Yeah.
Just solely because of somebody playing that like gravitational body of fuckery, and I'm doing this defiantly. Yeah, and so far, hilarious stuff.
Nice.
I don't know
It's
how
like
you
the
feel
best part,
about artisan dildos, but it was immediate.
Yeah. Artisan diligence.
Dude, we didn't even know how to make money, and all of a sudden he's like, "Can I sell them some artisan dildos?" And then John's just like,
You're like,
"Yeah, roll to see if you can."
yeah.
All right, Joel made you guys 15 gold pieces. How about that? Can we keep moving? Like, had not even started any of the campaign, or
Yeah.
anything. He's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
"All right, you guys are up." I'm like, "Hell yeah, we're up."
This is the beauty of D&D, though. It's not you can sit there.
Yeah.
Kane's like, "Can we kill them?" Like, yeah, anyway, it's a great show.
Yeah, I love it.
Check it out.
Had you ever played D&D before?
No, but
Okay.
I'd watched.
Yeah, you're familiar.
I'm a huge Dan Harmon fan.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
that's
he's
a great
one
one.
of my idols,
Yeah.
Harmontown, and so the Adventure Zone or whatever he did.
So there's a D&D. He did a D&D.
Yeah,
thing,
he did.
That's
Something
awesome.
like that.
Yeah, I'd
Well, he did
seen
the same
some-
thing with comedians too. He'd bring different
Yeah.
comedians in every episode, and they would go through it. And they're kind of sitting around a almost like reading table, but
Yeah.
they're doing the stuff, and it's super funny. It's really
It's
great.
great.
And then that's what you guys are kind of doing is you're bringing in
Yeah.
new comedians, and then from what John told me,
Exactly.
John Groth said you kill them off at the end
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
So it
okay.
kills the character, and then you bring in a new
Yeah,
person.
that's the problem
Yeah.
with D&D is that you could those games last for days and days.
Yeah.
You know.
and John is such a brilliant old school nerd that he was like, "Hold on, yeah, I think I can make that work. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
this is gonna be great."
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then
Yeah.
he would just hit us up like, "All right, just so you guys know, on this character sheet, you're going to be very excited." And then we're just like, I better be, or I don't care, whatever. And then Stinky didn't want to play. Like, Joel didn't want to do it. And then now he's like so invested.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
that's
awesome.
education.
Yeah.
Like 101. How can you get a kid to want to learn something?
Yeah.
You just show them all the reasons why.
Yeah.
That they, how they can't mess it up.
Right.
Yeah.
How you can't mess up learning.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you're teaching it right.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it was just so brilliant, and I had so much to take away from that as an educator. Anyway,
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah.
It's so fun.
Well, yeah, let's get into you, and then I kind of want to talk about your crew too that
Let's
you
go.
run around with. Let's see. All right, so first off, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Man, all right.
So spent a lot of my time growing up. Most of the growing up was in Wellston, Oklahoma.
All right. Town about like
Okay.
900 people, give or take.
Oh, okay, small town kid.
Right. And then before that, we moved around a lot. My dad was a preacher and a youth pastor at places, and then set up shop in Wellston for a while to where that's where I got most of the growing up. And then
That's where the one place you stayed at the longest.
Well, for a
yeah.
while, and then we moved to Edmond and got to
Okay.
go be poor
Yeah.
in Edmond. Poor in Wellston is just
Yeah,
being in
normal.
Wellston. You know? Like,
It's like
a lot
everybody
of
else.
kids don't have a horse, you know? Like, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's totally normal. You go to Edmond and you're like, oh, this is poor.
Yeah.
this is nice poor. Oh,
Yeah,
this is top notch poor.
I didn't know I could feel this poor.
there's some disparity here. Yeah, I can see it.
These kids feel really bad for me. Like, this is a level of poor. It's
But you
good
came
time.
out all right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Try it.
yeah.
Try it.
So yeah, you grew up in Wellston. You moved to
Edmond.
Edmond.
Moved around in
moved
Edmond
around
a
a
few
little bit.
times.
So did you do performance art or anything performance then?
Yeah. Got
Liquid Death. Gotcha.
Yep.
gotten there wasn't a whole lot of good performance art in Wellston, right? So it was mostly just called dicking around,
Yeah.
right? You do some funny shit and you go dicking around and you use your imagination
Yeah.
and you laugh, you know.
Just having fun.
Football was a great place to be dicking around, right? Top notch.
That's where you could like perform in front of your teammates and for fun and make 'em
having
laugh.
really old teachers in a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great small open mic room
Yeah.
for dicking around.
It's the same thing.
Every day.
I'm gonna heckle and I'm gonna do some good material today.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a great day.
So you took the opportunity.
All the
Anybody
time,
was in a
yeah.
public space. You're like, I'm gonna see if I can make these people
Yeah.
laugh.
Or anytime it was the vibes were off.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is tense.
Yeah.
Like,
you could
who's
break
be-
the ice.
Who's being the asshole here? And can I outdo them real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we hit them with that? And then getting into the bigger town, right? You can't dick around so much
Yeah.
without it being a serious ordeal where they have people that will call your parents and they'll talk to your parents like they would talk to you. Like, is everything okay at home?
Yeah.
You guys all right? That's really bad for parents. They hate that. Parents hate that.
Yeah, I can from having kids. I really hate hearing about my kids.
It sucks. Why couldn't you just hit it out of the park?
So where did you start in comedy? I mean, where did it start hitting the stages? When did you take the act to the stage?
So I quit football
Yeah.
in high school and got into drama, and just was able to do like show choir, and I was a choir boy. I sang and stuff. And
Hit us with it.
Yeah. Very
do
nice.
you believe in love?
Solid song.
If you pitch that up, I think I fucking slapped.
Hit the auto tune, Dave. Hit the auto tune, would you? So dicking around outside became dicking around on stage.
That's right. And turns out, like a lot of that just dicking around is just being an asshole.
Oh,
And you're like, you weren't as funny as you were just being an asshole.
Yeah.
And so when you get to go on stage and you're like,
Then
I was just interrupting.
yeah.
Like, that wasn't clever. I just made a loud fart noise.
Yeah. But it's like that's what's awesome about stand-up comedy and performing. Like that's the place for it, right? Like that's where you're supposed to do it. But of course, when you don't have that, where are you gonna go?
Right. It just
Growing up,
it was just a
yeah,
great transition.
That's awesome. Yeah, natural.
Yeah.
yeah.
coming to terms with that of you're trying to set a vibe.
Yeah.
And
And I mean, I think it's like you're taking, because I think about a lot about stand-up comedy. It's like you're changing the way they feel. You know what I mean? You're manipulating the way, and that's the same thing as stand-up comedy. But if you're, like you said, if you're in a tense room, you're like, I don't want this to be tense anymore. I want this to be fun. So you make everyone feel less tense and kind of laugh and have a good time.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it 100%. Like when we were in school and I would do that, or whenever we were around, you're hanging out with your friends and like maybe something's happening, you're like, that guy's weird, or we got all our skateboards stolen from behind this trash can, but today we're making a memory.
The best is always what's the highest risk, right? The highest risk, and you can't be involved. It has to be somebody else's battle that's causing the tension in the room to be a bummer to the point where they don't care who hears you. They're not going to be fake, which is called not being courteous. Like if someone is like, "Oh, I'm not going to be fake," you're like, "Oh, you're just a discourteous person." Loud and clear. Yeah, totally cool. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys. Well, I mean, now that we brought this up, man, it's funny you say that. Finally taking it to the stage. I've spent, and Dave's seen me, a lot of my life trying to be funny, and people don't really like that. I noticed,
or certain situations,
they don't call for it.
Yeah.
But I can't stop. What I realized is once I started going on stage, I was like, oh. Nobody can stop me here.
Yeah.
For at least 4 minutes.
This is my time.
I get to say whatever the hell I want to. And it's the proper place for it. Like I feel like as I've grown up and I've done more comedy, I'm less trying to be funny out in the world.
Yeah.
I used to do it to customers all the time, and now that I realize that maybe because I have like a spiel, right? I'm coming in, I'm Nick Campbell, show me your panel. We go to the panel. I go, hey, I'm Nick Campbell. I've been doing this for 20 years, just to let you know. And then I have like a spiel that I have jokes peppered in. Now that I think is fine. But not.
So that's a solid sales pitch.
Yeah,
it truly is. Campbell Sun Electric. But no, I feel. But when I take that attitude to the stage, it feels right. And then that's when I realized, like, oh, interrupting isn't great, like you said. Or like, I thought I was being funny. I thought I was helping.
Yeah. I think a lot of times it is, though, because I do think that we all walk around here, rock around the world, and just take everything way too seriously, and we need to like relax a little bit and have a good time and. Whenever you can.
Even if you find yourselves being a dork in the moment, and then you go red face and shake it off, you're still the biggest dork in the room, right? So nobody should feel worse than you. So you did make the vibe better in comparison to where your feelings are. If they're still like, no, you should need it, then that's just a person that wants to feel bad. That's what we call a sourpuss. That's what that is.
I think you're right. Yeah, it kind of lets everybody know in the room too, like, hey, this guy's kind of a dickhole.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not you.
Well, it's like, but that's the whole thing with comedy. I mean, it's so weird about comedy because I think it's what I've come to kind of think when I think of comedy, it's just all you're doing is pointing something out, most of the time. And you're putting a little twist on it, making it weird, or making a different perspective. But like a lot of times, you can just point something out and people will laugh, and you won't even make a joke. And it's something about that perception. I think I don't know.
Oh, just the eyes of connecting two things with your look.
Right.
You're like.
But if somebody's being a dick,
that's true, man.
And like you are the opposite of that, then it's like, oh wait, they're different,
Yeah,
they're different, they're opposite.
Well, you're subverting his attitude as well. You're subverting, like that's the beauty of comedy is it goes, oh, this is all bullshit. This is all. That guy's mad. Who cares?
Right.
Feel bad for that guy. We're gonna have a good time. Like you can kind of almost put people in a box or make them feel like they're being ridiculous, and then they go, all right, I'm being ridiculous, and then they go, it has that. And you're right too, as far as like just pointing something out in the room, and the looks. Like you could look at a guy, get on stage. The first thing you do, you don't say anything for 8 seconds, which is the longest 8 seconds. If you just got on stage and didn't say anything for 8 seconds, right? And you just looked at it, and the guy was like, "You look like you're not having fun." And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just
totally.
immediately. Yeah, and it's just like Dave said. I think
funny.
comedy is funnier the closer you are to the recognition. So if we're recognizing something from 2 weeks away, then the comedy isn't as funny. You have to put more twist on it.
Right.
But if it's closer to in the moment, then you don't even
Yeah.
have to put the twist on it
Right.
because it's just like, oh, we all recognize it.
Oh yeah,
This is
somebody
crazy.
just dropping some like a plate of drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything is fine to say. Like
Yeah.
anything. I've heard so many things drop in my time. I've bartended. I worked at Panera
Oh,
Bread. We used to cheer at Panera Bread. Someone dropped something, and it would just be you'd hear a pan hit the ground, kablang. We'd just be like,
Yeah. That's a good, yeah. But you're saying like it's like a way to like break the tension to where that because you know like I've worked in restaurants before and it's like or just when you drop something you feel like shit. You're like especially because you have to remake it or whatever and clean it up. So you're just like you feel terrible. But then if you break the ice and be like oh, you make him laugh or whatever, just
it's like there's a high stimulus moment. And then the whole room doesn't have any details on what that means.
Right.
And so it's just sitting up,
yeah.
and then you get
Everyone's
to point it to,
tension
is that person about to get yelled at to where I
Yeah.
have to feel bad about them? Or are we going to enjoy this moment and be like, hey, this is a pretty fucking chill place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
No, I love that,
Yeah,
man,
good
because
way.
it turns that whole scenario
it's
into
right there.
into like comfort. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
now every time you drop something, everybody is forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that in my house.
Yeah.
Then there's also some people that they will beat themselves up so much harder after. You know,
Yeah.
we're like, dude, we all joked about it. The thing, and then you just need to forgive yourself. You piece of human trash. And then that will just sit there like, I don't know why that makes me feel good. You're the man, man. You dab it up. You're like, God, this guy gets me.
That's one of the things I love about you, man. I really, because you're so positive. One of the things, whenever I first started, and we were introduced by Leo, because Leo was like, "You have to meet Austin. He's super funny."
Dude, love you, Leo.
And I was like, "Yeah." So we go up to JJ's. JJ's of all places. He was like, "Hey, just remember." JJ, nobody does good at JJ's.
Eat it at
Yeah.
JJ's.
Yeah, eat it at JJ's. But you came up. I had a tough time just because of JJ's. You know? And but I was in the beginning, so I didn't know. You know, and you come up, you go, "Hey, man, it's all right." You're like, "It don't matter. Let's go hang out." And I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter." And it's that attitude that I think that you bring, where it's this, and it extends from your teaching. But it's like, oh, well, this is a place where we can have fun. This is what we're doing here. And you subvert the negativity. And I love that about you.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So anyways,
Thanks.
how's, so I don't want to pigeonhole you.
Good.
But, and you're very funny in any way. But I noticed that you try to focus on prop comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah? What got you into prop comedy?
So, my preacher dad, also both my grandpas, my mom's dad and my dad's dad, all retired preachers. And so I'm in this Christian mafia.
That's what.
Nepotism, I see.
Oh, yeah.
Started with God.
I'm literally grandfathered into heaven. They had a sermon which was called Sermon in a Sack. And it had not ball sack. It would be like a Walmart bag or a suitcase or like a old purse or something. And they would just have a prop of some sort in that, and that would be the anchor point to their sermon coming back to each time.
Whoa.
And so preaching and great comedy is written very similar.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
you like when it's done great on both ends.
we are now taking donations to help support Rhythm and Wit. It's called buymeacoffee.com/rhythm and wit. And that is where you can go and just donate any amount. I think that what they do is it's called Buy Me a Coffee. You can buy us 1 cup of coffee costs $5, so you can just donate $5, and that will maybe buy one of us a coffee.
Yeah,
So
we'll sip on it together.
We'll split it. So you can do that, or you can buy us 10 cups of coffee if you wanted to. So, I mean, and that's like a $50 donation, and then that's all goes there. You can leave us a message on there, and if you do leave us a message, we will certainly read it on the air, and thank you for your support. And any of the money that we take from Buy Me a Coffee or any donations at all, we are going to use to put back into the show, whether it's buying new equipment, maybe some mics or cameras or lights or anything like that, or maybe even promoting and just trying to grow the audience, because that's something that I'd like to get into is, buying some ads and things like that to try to grow our audience in that way.
Absolutely.
And of course, that costs money, so we would love it if you could support us. If you have the means, please go to buymeacoffee.com/rhythm Rhythm and Wit.
If you think about it, lives are like firecrackers, right? They don't last very long, and everyone should applaud afterwards.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
and watch
right.
out for fire.
Right, yeah. and whenever they fall over and get launched at your Aunt Ginger, she almost catches fire. People bring it up at your Uncle Todd's funeral.
Was that one of the sermons in a sack?
No, that actually happened this week.
Did it really? She got shot. She got shot at somebody.
My Uncle Todd died. And
I'm sorry.
We had a great guy. Love you. Anyway, my mom's cousin, so he's like my uncle because of how close they were. Like 13, 14 cousins. And they would roll deep too, they'd have game nights.
Oh, so you had like a big
Oh yeah.
family kind of like getting together, and were they playful like that too? Were they just real?
Super, just like just messing with you and talking trash. And,
Yeah. Was it that open learning environment there as well?
For music,
Yeah.
there's a lot of music stuff like that. But I got to see at the funeral this week how deep the family does run. When you're like, oh, this is a lot of people. Wow. And then some people came up from like old churches that I grew up at, and they were like, how'd you know Todd? I'm like, Todd's my mom's kid. And they're like, that's wild. I had no idea you knew Todd this whole time. Todd was a good guy. I'm like, Todd was a good guy. And he was also like a vibe engineer,
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, like,
just like people sitting around bored.
yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to go raid the ice cream and make a bunch of floats. And just do that.
Yeah.
Not ask.
Yeah.
Just do the thing. Like, kids, come in here. Just come on.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then all of a sudden, kids are like, you can do it with Mr. Pibb? Is this illegal?
You can do it with any soda.
Any soda?
Yeah, dude. Sherbet and Mountain Dew.
Don't tell mom and dad.
Yeah. Dude, tell me, what was one of your favorite sermon in the sacks?
Man, there was one my dad did with a basketball. And the point was all about that the moon reflects the light from the sun. And so it's just like in your attitude and in your walk, you should be reflecting the light of the Lord as you go through. And so he had a flashlight and he did the...
Yeah.
So,
I love that so much.
yeah, and he bounced the ball around,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about having like a physical object, I think, that just makes it like definitely more memorable, I think, especially for that. I think that's huge you want to remember that kind of lesson. You always think of a basketball, or anytime you see a basketball, you might think of that lesson. I think that's really good. But yeah, for comedy, I mean, that's just...
some people don't have a mind's eye.
Right, yeah.
What do you
So like a mind's eye where you can't just conjure
Like
a image in your head.
If you think of an apple,
People don't have that?
Can you? Yeah, some people.
Some
I
people
guess.
can't visualize.
Yeah.
Is like the same way some people can't vocalize.
Yeah, some people don't have an inner monologue.
What if you don't have both?
Yep. Yeah. We love you.
Yeah.
Just scare me.
Yeah.
You're just scary. I still love you. I'm just scared of you.
What are you thinking about at that point? Are you all instant?
I am thinking about tacos while I'm eating tacos.
Right, yeah.
I am saying tacos, eating tacos. It is taco time.
Is that what's really messing us up? Like, should we just not do any of that? Like,
I mean,
we would truly be in the
thinking
moment.
slows you down.
Does it?
I mean,
Yeah,
but I mean, how are you, there's also visualizing makes you get better at stuff.
for sure.
Being
Yeah,
able
sure.
to run tape, you know, does have its help.
Yeah, I think it's something that if you work on it, because that's something I do. It's like I got really into like mindfulness meditation like a couple years ago, and I don't do it as much these days. But I mean, it changed my life in the way I kind of go about my life, just because I think that the point is, if you can get to a place where it's like you don't have to have these inner dialogue monologues like controlling everything or taking over, you know. And it's like, if you can quiet that down and just actually live in the moment, that's the best way to be. And that's something that meditation helps with.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because and that mind's eye thing I think about a lot too, because it's like, I mean, I think I have a very strong visual sense. I mean, I'm a graphic artist. I'm gonna do all these things visually with video and stuff like that. So, but I do think about that, people that can't do that. It's like, man, that sucks.
It's gotta be tough. Yeah, I
mean,
didn't know.
I have a really successful friend. My buddy Alex lives in New York. He has aphantasia, is what the thing's called, and I think we border on a thing called like a hyperphantasia.
Yeah.
Which for dramatic effect, which can be bothersome.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, living in the moment, future tripping.
That's kind of that's probably one of my problems. I need to look into this.
Future tripping.
I think about it. I think about the future way too much.
It's either way. It's a hallucination based off of your thinking of your best understanding.
Right.
Right. So it's like a form of perfectionism. You're putting a cap on what your actual capabilities are because of what you believe you can do. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So whereas if you're seeking more of a progress over perfection, the progress I've learned much more things, bigger doors have opened, unlocked in the understanding of, oh no, I don't have to be in control over all of this.
Yeah, it's
What was the switch? How did you make the turn? Or did you do it, or did you not do it? How'd you learn it?
It's a muscle, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting
yeah.
older.
And that's the thing.
I'm
That's the
gonna
thing. Is,
die.
I think one of the
a
ways
lot of people are dying
Right.
around. It's just like, But I think a big part of it was in helping the guys that I'm working with, and my comedy got better in helping, in my attitude being more outward focused.
Nice. Yeah.
I inherently have an issue with self-esteem, right? To where in the perfectionist, where if I don't hit the notes that I wanted to, I can come off stage and still be sad.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Everybody laughed,
Yeah.
And you'll still be
and
beat up by it?
nobody had any idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody knew but me.
That's definitely something with music that I struggle with the entire time I've played music. And nowadays, after 20 years, it's like, well, I know this, and, but exactly what you said. You get on stage and you miss 3 notes, and you're like, man, I know I could have made those. Could have hit those notes or whatever, played that properly.
Then that's just a loop.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to go back and talk to those people and apologize
It
and
doesn't
say,
matter.
actually, here's the joke I meant to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat the shit out of myself and be like, you're crap, you're crap, you're crap. You should work harder.
I do think that some of that is because I have a lot of self-doubt, like you were saying, self-esteem too. It's like, but I think that the self-doubt that I have, I've learned to appreciate it a little bit, because I wouldn't be as good as I am without it. So it's like you need some of that, and it shouldn't,
But it shouldn't be detrimental to self. That should be
I heard somebody say something rad one time where I started doing this, and this is talking to your anxiety like it's a little friend that is losing their mind, and they're like, everything's good, but you don't know, and you're like, hey dude, I really appreciate that you care so much.
Aw.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is good. Calm down. You can't help me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way you have to think about
And
it.
it's just like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, it's something that Liz always talks about too is self-talk, positive self-talk. Like how you talk to yourself and in your head, that becomes your externalization. Like you end up talking to other people or have these same expectations for them that you don't even have to put that on them. It's like being a father. I think a lot of times you run into that wall and you can keep pushing into it, or you can be like, all right, man, let me just change everything I thought I knew and go, okay. I think the kids are really just us, but we have more filters. Right, and we're able to hide a little bit better. But really, we're just like them. We have the same emotions. We just go, okay, that's not acceptable. Right.
You learn. Society teaches you not to control your emotions and all that.
But the restraints around them are really only fake. They're not real. You know, a lot of the times that you're in your head or beating yourself up, it's like, recognition is important. Like you said, having the self-doubt and understanding, hey, I didn't really do a great job there. That's great. Honestly, because that's how you get better.
Yeah, but why?
But you don't have to kill yourself with it.
You know, like I can put it down on paper why I felt bad. And it was like, oh, well, when I made this choice the other day, instead of working on my set, I did this. And it's like, wow, what the fuck is wrong?
Yeah.
I guess the ADHD is just gonna kill me, you know? And then that, like, go walk around. Like, go draw something, you idiot. You know, like, then you're like, oh, okay, thanks, man.
I love that attitude, man. I mean, I love the idea of working with yourself versus working against yourself. Yeah.
Whose voices are those?
Parents.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Predetermined things that you maybe heard, or
for a lot of people,
or you assumed. A lot of time, whenever you have those issues with your youth, it's assumptive. It's not even like, oh, I had this experience and it was tragic to me, but to mom and dad, it was just another fucking day.
Could have been from a movie.
Yeah,
that you internalized.
Right. Yeah, dude, I didn't have
getting a hand job. Like there's a lot of things in your past that you could be feeling feelings for.
Same reason I don't watch Barney.
Straight up. We all get that.
Dude, I didn't have a My Buddy doll because of Chucky. Yeah. Do you remember My Buddy dolls? Yeah, my brother had one, and he would like, and he wanted one so bad, like when we were younger. And then when he got it, I was like, I'm hiding that every chance I get.
Yeah.
And I hid it in the closet under clothes. I would hide it and be like, where's my Buddy doll? Like, I don't know. I don't know where it's at, bud.
Yeah, so we were a good Christian family, and we were not into idolatry. So I guess worshiping a little buddy doll is kind of a little sacrilegious.
Okay. Now I see where the voices are coming from. That's
just saying.
I didn't like it. Okay, I didn't want it.
And that wasn't even my family. That was like other people putting on like another thing for what they think the preacher's kid should be acting like. You know, or like being compared to my friends in the car with them. They're like, you should be a good kid, more like us. I'm like, lady, you're going to get me beat up. This is not cool.
Yeah. Well, and then how are you? I mean, it's funny that you say that because how you are treated in your environment dictates kind of how you grow, obviously. So you're a preacher's kid and they're treating you like a preacher's kid. You are forced to move that way. Just like when you assume a kid is bad and then they start acting it because you start treating them.
There are no bad kids.
There are no bad kids. Yeah.
People just turn around someday like, oh shit, I'm a crappy adult.
Yeah.
Dang.
And even you can be fixed.
See, this is why I love Austin. I can be fixed. Okay, yeah. So I want to say, you did. So you said you studied. You studied UCO for teaching or education?
Okay. So I dropped out of college 3 different times.
So first time was for studying sociology and psychology.
Oh, nice.
And moving towards like a therapist, like counselor, psychiatrist world, you know.
Nice, yeah.
And then money, you know. But that was the first, like, before that I went to a Bible college out in Wagner, South Carolina.
Holy cow.
Yeah. That was one of the first times I sold everything and moved away. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah.
How many times have you done that?
Handful.
Yeah.
Grip it
Where have you
times.
been? Where, like, tell me what are you doing in Oklahoma?
Yeah, no, just
Back.
it's like the safety net where you go out and explore and
Yeah.
spin your wheels until it's all gone.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Hey, Mom and Dad, can I live in the garage?" They're like, "No." You can live over next to the garage. Get a job now.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we all made a trip back to mom and dad's house. Yeah.
yeah,
If you can.
yeah, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
a thing where I'm like, oh, okay, that's why you stay together, like, so that you can be able to be that, you know,
Anchor
like
point.
straight up like mafia type of vibe, where like I can literally drive in all sorts of directions, but because I got uncles and dad, grandpas, cousins that are in the ministry, peppered throughout the Midwest.
Okay.
So a couple calls and
You're always a phone call away.
tow
from
truck,
somewhere.
dinner. You need a place to stay. There's a
Nice.
potluck dinner. We got all this. You want to come hang out? Hey, you can move out here. You know that, right? Like,
That's sweet.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Do you feel like I've heard this, but like preaching is a lot like comedy as far as like they go from town to town.
Oh, yeah.
Some preachers do, and then
Yeah,
they set people up like
like
that as
like
well.
adjunct preachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But families that move around, stay in a place, kind of
Yeah.
preach there, and then move to another spot. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll happen. Sometimes it's just politics that will cause the movement, but
Yeah.
sometimes there are people that are just mission minded.
Right.
No,
Just like comics. There's people that are out there trying to do
just
it.
waiting to get to that mega church, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want that mega church money.
Give me Joel Osteen money. I just need a little bit. I don't even need that.
I want to be doing theaters, not stadiums.
Yeah, man. So with that in mind, something I did enjoy that we talked about. You got us into the Science Museum for free. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But something that you worked
Great
there as the
time of my life.
programs director, didn't you?
I was one of them.
One of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole programs team, about 6, sometimes 8 people, trading off different jobs, but then also having your like different events, right? So stuff like homeschool day. So I do a whole event day specifically designed for homeschool families, things that they'd be running into, science stuff that they could do at home that that they can keep doing at home, and upgrading, and for homeschool stuff. Yeah, got to get to be a community organizer. You're just calling out different places and be like, "Hey, you want to be a part of this?"
Nice. Yeah. So did you do the stage stuff where they did the science, chemical, and they do all that fun stuff on the stage?
A few times.
Few times, yeah.
That's the Science Live. That's a whole department. They have
is
a
it?
whole other team. They would have their crew come up to our programs meetings and talk about, But I got to do like these outreaches where we go to different schools and different places, like all these Title I schools that we have, small, underfunded schools throughout, our great state. We get to go teach them that air is stuff, and blow some things up.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's what you should teach kids in low-income places, how to blow things up.
We need to make a lot more room for some more highways. So could you just take care of it yourself?
This is Demolitions 101. Yeah, and then real quick, we just kind of get out of the personal stuff after this, but this just was interesting to me. You worked at Vail Resort as a snowmaker?
Yeah, dude.
So you just made this now?
That was one of the other runaway moves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was 23, and I was organizing mortgage paperwork, doing banks for homework for them. Like, it's like I was like working for underwriters. You get the whole mortgage come through, and they have all these dumb codes that I didn't really know very well. I was really bad at this job. My boss did not like me, and she wanted me to go faster. Like, I ballooned up way big and fat. I was eating like so much and drinking so much. So I want to die. I hate this place. And I was, go faster. I'm like, and so, my buddy Charlie, he got me an interview. He was like, nobody wants this job, but it's really hard and scary. I'm like,
I'm glad you got out.
I want to do that. I want to do hard and scary.
They make you appreciate not doing hard and scary.
Dude, no, this is the greatest thing. Hear me out. So I'm like well over 300 pounds going into the high Rockies. Got the job on a phone interview because I got Riz. And I get there and they see me at orientation and they're like, oh no, this guy's really big. And so one of the lead mechanic welder guys who looks like he's 30, who turns out he's like 48, you know, he's like, hey man, you know you might die out here, right? I was like, just started laughing at him because I was so sad. I was like, I'll just go out and die in the mountains.
Yeah,
You know, I'll be eaten by a bear, you know. And then he was like, no, and I laughed, and he was like, hey man, a guy did die here last year. I was like, how? He goes, he got down in the hole and a fire hose blew off and smacked him in the head. Then a hole filled up with water. So hopefully he drowned because it froze him in there.
Holy crap.
And I was like, okay. It's like, so
This was that underwriting job?
no, this was before the underwriting job.
okay,
No,
gotcha.
this was snowmaking. But yeah,
Yeah, it's no. I'm just playing. Sorry.
what got me? Water and air gets slammed into like this cannon. Right? They also have fan guns that are pretty cool, but the craziest ones are like jet engines. So like, imagine you have like 2 hoses, one going through here, one going through here. One's like 100 psi of air, and the other one's like 400 psi of water, and then they just get. And then you aim the thing up. It creates this like plume of a cloud.
So that's and you did that. I'm putting this together because I was trying to figure out what this job was for.
Yeah.
But that's for the mountain, so they can ski and
yeah.
snowboard it, right?
So you have to put a layer of
Yeah.
fake snow,
Right.
artificial.
Right.
You know, we pumped it from the lake. It's like a town over,
Yeah.
and then up the mountain through a bunch of pump houses
Right.
up the mountain, and then through these fire hoses into these cannons, and then you have to go check the snow quality, which is the best. All right, so you're out in all this gear, and you're just like on the snowmobile and just out into the plume. It's just like just on you, and you're like, okay, it's coming down. That's good. First, that's good. Up there onto me, step 1, because sometimes it's just water dribbling out. And you're like,
Yeah.
we have a problem.
It's not working.
Because it's just going to freeze right there. You remember
don't
that
want that.
kid.
You remember? Yeah.
You know, so, he's fine.
It's not.
So,
It's cold blooded.
so is he. So, all right. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
So you check the snow that hits you, and just kind of,
Yeah.
all right, and it's got to kind of pack, you know. It wants to look kind of like mashed potatoes. That's how they're like. And then it wants to pack, but not get wet when you pack it. So we're out there just like, you got to scoop it off the ground too to check that. So just like, dunk, 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 pick it up. And then, because it's so loud, if it's too wet, you need to signal to the person over at the hydrant to open and close the valves to either turn up, turn down the water. And so you have like just a little bit up,
Yeah.
just a little bit down. Then you have like quite a bit. And they're like, dude, turn it all the way up, or bro, we're gonna die. Like, meanwhile, it's just like grabbing snow. Okay,
Yeah.
goggles. Get back onto your thing. Let's go to the next gun.
Just walking around pretending to be a penguin.
Dude.
That's like, dude, that sounds amazing. I would love that.
It is,
Yeah.
like, Yeah.
I was hoping you would say like how we check it is we just do snow angels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
You're allowed to try that.
yeah.
Jack will be like,
Get off the ground. Get off the ground right now.
Oh my god.
yeah, because it's a lot of old gritty dudes that have just been there since 1985.
And they have no sense of humor or soul left.
They do, but not the one that 23-year-old fat guy they were going to haul his carcass out.
They were worried.
They were like, all right, fuel up the chopper. Jesus Christ. This guy's going to break a chopper.
So,
But I didn't die. I got through the whole season.
yeah, I was worried.
Yeah.
I was worried that you
I
died.
lost like 70
story.
pounds in like 2.5 months.
Did you from going up and down the mountain?
Just
and working?
hiking, just having to keep tipping your snowmobile back up because being top heavy, and then just grinding down on one, and then you just that was really soft, and then you just tip you over. Then you got to shovel your ass out. Wait like 20 minutes for the oil to settle down in your thing.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, the guys are going by. He fell again.
Yeah.
Oh, he fell again. He was on the radio. He fell again.
So it's like Colorado people are just.
You're cool.
Yeah, well, I mean they're all right, but they're not healthy because it's like their choice is like the survival.
Yeah.
It's pretty much survival.
Yeah, they're living like on the edge at all times.
Yeah.
And
It's hard to breathe. Everything is up.
yeah. They are, and they all look young. They all it's cryogenically frozen up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, I'm glad you're here in Oklahoma, man.
Dude, yeah.
So you got.
I'm a real loser in Colorado. I'm pretty tight here, dude.
Go show them where you're at now. That's
Dude,
what you got to do.
They'll be like, okay, you got fat again. Good.
You still flipping over? You still flipping over them mobiles?
What's wrong with your voice?
You sound like a wise owl. That's nothing wrong with that.
Who? No,
You
seriously, dude. Who? I like that he's
So you
Italian.
decided on prop comedy. How do you? Yeah, we came a long way from that. How do you create the bits? How do you come up with the props? You just pick a thing. You're like, all right, water bottle. You know.
How stupid is this? That's the question. It's how utterly stupid is this? And can I piece it to any other stupidity to make it look like it's on purpose? Like, when it's just like, see, know how dumb this is? Okay. All right. Is this dumb? And then can I surprise people?
Yeah.
Because like it's a lot of work.
Yeah, we got to pack around all that stuff too.
Yeah,
I've seen you
that's the
come into
worst.
place. You come into a place. You just look like you got a bunch of groceries on your shoulder. So what's like a
Hobo.
15? Say you got a 15-minute set, right? How many props you taking with you?
Man,
Have them stacked, right? So instead of doing a set list, I'll have it stacked in there. So
some of them are just reminders that could be a bit. Some of them are the transition to start up a line of jokes to where it's like, I know when I go from this, it's going to go bap, 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 and then it's over. So whenever it's that tight, then I can fuck around like mad. Like, and I can tell the audience to shut up like and be like totally in like the, oh, no. I'm very prepared for this. I can make it look like it's going off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Dude, it put a cork in it.
I'm sorry.
That was, I don't know what it was about it, put a cork in it, but when you were over there, he just went nuts. You remember? That was one of my favorite times watching it.
It was this is this going bad because it's funny?
Yeah.
Is
So I was like, did he make this all up right now?
this going bad because it's funny? I mean, I had the guitar at that one, right?
Yeah, you did the guitar.
So the only one that I did was the 9/11 song. Everything else was improv.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, that was beautiful. It was like the perfect spot for it, and you really opened it up. Like I said, you brought the guitar. You did the 9/11 joke because somebody called out 9/11. No, he's just not doing that. He doesn't just do that.
yeah, that was wild because I was like, well, here we are. But I want to get into that kind of skill level of improv where I can actually do like Harry Mack, right? He's a rapper. He will rap about things that he's walking by or having people give him, intricate words on Zoom call or Omegle or whatever. And it's so beautifully crafted. And it looks like he is effortlessly making this up. And I was like, that's a level that I want to get to where I can do that with my guitar or with any instruments that are there to where it just looks like magic.
Well, speaking of magic, one of your favorite comedians.
I like magic.
Oh, well, that as well. One of your favorite comedians that you talked to me about was the Amazing Jonathan. That was a big inspiration for you.
Absolutely.
And if nobody remembers, Amazing Jonathan was
also dead.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think there's a couple of documentaries they made. I heard about. I haven't seen either of them, but
I think it's called The Most Talented Meth Head Alive.
Yeah, there was this is probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. Maybe there's 2 different ones that came out around the same time, but. Check those out if you're interested.
Definitely.
He was a subversive guy.
Yeah.
He was. Dude, he was. And he was a little wild. Obviously, he was a comedian in the 90s. So, there was some stuff going on there. But how he would play with the crowd and like you said, just
border on abuse.
Yeah.
It was really, really just like some things. It was like some stuff. Well, because people, I guess they got really not okay with putting drugs in people's drinks and people drinking them. So
around the 90s?
Yeah, somewhere in there it just got not cool.
Yeah.
But before that, back in the day, he had a bit where he was just like, all right, come on up here, we're going to do a shot together. And then he gives the audience member the shot, and then he's like, what an idiot. You just drank whatever I gave you.
Yeah. Dude, he used to do that.
I'll see you here in a little bit.
And he would switch.
Yeah.
He would take, no.
But yeah, that's just so silly. And it's the performance and everybody's attuned to the moment, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't take, it takes a lot of gall. More, which is arguably more difficult if you're like,
oh, what if just one person is like,
nope, you're dumb. You're dumb. One slightly more charismatic person in the audience can just derail whatever magic you're doing.
Right, yeah. That's interesting too, yeah, because I think that it's probably a part of it because I think about magic a lot. We know we're good friends with the magician John Shack.
I love John
March
Shack.
6th, Magic and Marlowe at Put a Cork in It Winery.
Yeah.
Love you, John.
Go ahead, bud.
So anyways, I think about magic a lot and just I've heard magicians on podcasts and stuff like that and just, I've never tried it or anything. I don't think I would really want to try it necessarily, but I think it's fascinating just the same way as comedy. It's like the craft of it is so fascinating to me.
Yeah. You have to love it more than you have to love the showing off part.
Right. But I think that something
That
about
sucks.
something about
I love showing off.
Yeah, something about the magician, or it's like magician and comic, right? You have to learn how to gauge people. You're gonna choose the person that is gonna go along with the bit. You're not gonna choose the person that you think that's not, that's gonna ruin it, And that's a part of it too. And you have to learn how to gauge people and figure out who's the right mark.
This is actually, I've been kind of working on an idea for an education book that's for educators. And it's called The Hand of Positive Trickery. And it's taking that type of thing where the learning happens the best whenever everybody's fully engaged.
Yeah.
and the learning is how do I never forget that thing, right? I learned how to do X, Y, and Z, that thing I wanted to do. I wanted to learn how to do this because of a thing I saw, and that was like the precursor to like magic is one of those, like, you can use magic as an educational tool and comedy as an educational tool, other things, because getting captivated. The joke that I say is you got to get them in the van.
Get in the van.
You got to get them in the van. Oh, I know all about that.
You got to get.
You got a van.
I do have a van. There's somebody in it now.
One of the chapters is literally called "You got to get the kids in the van."
Yeah. So you're like actually writing the book currently?
I have like outline notes and stuff, and then I have like
awesome.
1,000 other things. So
That's
like,
beautiful. Yeah, I love that.
it will squeeze it out eventually.
Yeah. That's
Do you
awesome.
think you're like more of a educator at heart? Yeah.
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 Yeah. Creative education.
Yeah.
I think that's what comedy is a big part of too.
Yeah. It's definitely something we need more of that, I think. I mean, in this country, it needs an entire revamp of the education system, in my opinion. I mean,
This episode of Rhythm Wit was brought to you by Campbell & Son Electric, Oklahoma City's trusted one-truck electrical contractor with over 20 years of experience in the field. Whether it's upgrading your home's electrical service, troubleshooting issues, or tackling small commercial projects, Campbell & Son Electric delivers top-notch work with care and attention you'd expect from a family business. Servicing areas like Del City, Edmond, Yukon, Mustang, and beyond, they're your go-to for reliable expert service. Need help with your next project? Visit CampbellandSonElectric.com today and get it done right the first time. Campbell & Son Electric, brightening Oklahoma, one wire at a time. So something that you do, you kind of, about a year ago, you got together with a group of guys, called yourself the Dipp Heads.
Yeah.
And it's like a little sketch comedy group. You guys create reels and you do...
Yeah.
sketch comedy?
In fact, on Instagram, we're Heads Dip because Dip Heads wasn't available. But I already started Dip Heads with an older friend, Tristan McGinnis. You remember Tristan? He was a stand-up for a little while.
Didn't get to see him.
He's out of the scene at the moment. He's doing better things, living the dream, doing better.
yeah, that's good.
Love you, Tristan.
Dip Heads came from him wanting to get into hydro dipping, which is like where you put paint on the water and then you dip like helmets and hats.
Okay,
and,
cool.
You know, that it kind of like,
Yeah, I've
you
seen
know,
that.
like a flea market art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bowling balls and stuff.
It's cool.
Yeah, right.
It's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, let's go.
It's like tie-dyeing like
Dude.
metal stuff.
Yeah.
Right, I was doing tie-dye work and doing other art stuff, and the house that I live in, I call the incubator, and so it's where you can you got an idea,
Yeah.
let's
Figure it out.
let's make it. This is an area where this is the best case for growth in your artistic endeavor. So what do you need? Let's get it. Right?
Nice.
So he said that, and I was like, I think I have a lot of those supplies to just try something right now, to just go from 0 to 1, right? And one of my favorite lines is 0 to 1 is an infinite increase. An infinite increase. Like,
Yeah.
so if you're doing something new, you're learning something, cut yourself some slack, because you're going from 0 to infinity more than 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Right?
sense.
Just so you can slow down your learning. You can slow it down really slow because it's still 0 to 1.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah, you're gonna make some progress.
Yeah, it's impossible to not.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, cool. So we got like a hat and some shoes and spray paint and big tub, and I was like, yeah, I have the right kind of paint. Cool. Sprayed it in there and made a hat, and like, cool. And then after he did that, he didn't do any more.
Yeah.
It was like,
Oh, you
I
did.
kind of want to do this. Okay, let's see if you really want to do this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like Mycelium Gallery
Yeah.
too. You can walk in there. They have that thing in the back where you can grab stuff off the donation. Like
Yeah,
craft.
you can try
Yeah.
the art supplies.
We tried a few other things.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, I see how this works.
So that's
I see the levels of commitment to be great at this.
Yeah.
I do not want to execute such a plan.
That's great.
Yeah, and so it was cool. And so like, all right, next.
So that's where the name came from?
That's where the name Dipp Heads came from.
Yeah.
And then
Who's in the Dipp Heads? So who all is in the Dipp Heads?
so the pretty much anybody who wants to come be in a video. So if you look at the main names on the Instagram, we have me, Zach Hubbard, Joel Morrison. There's a couple guys who don't really hang out so much anymore, but we still consider them in because they have so much to add into group chat, and then other events that we're planning down the road. They're great minds to have, and great attitudes. Just because, but you kind of have to do some stand up or performance. So, but even that, like, you're in one of the videos. Bingo.
There you go.
Yeah.
You did it. There's your credit. There's your deal. So then it becomes, how much time do you want to invest into what we're doing, right? And so if you have an idea for a sketch, we just ask storyboard it to where it's a clear vision.
So what does that look like?
John just turned one into us, that John Groth, that we filmed yesterday. It was, I don't know, maybe 8 pages of drawn out on, just simple, drawn out on white sheets of printer paper that had the basic idea of, here's the joke, and then the punchline to the joke, and then little message, like details about the scene. Yeah. Then that way when we go and we talk to everybody, because some people don't have a mind's eye, we have this thing where we go, does that make sense? And then they go, oh yeah, that reminds me of X, Y, and Z. Okay, that looks like a thing. Yeah. And then once we have that, then we rely on just takes, doing jokes, fucking around. Make sure we get the idea done enough for the person who went through the time to storyboard the idea. We focus on them. They're
kind of like the director.
They're mostly director unless they want to act in the thing, but then they have to give up creative control to somebody else behind the camera and stuff. So it's this acting back and forth and trading back roles in order to make, I guess, quantity.
I
mean, quality is going to happen through repetition.
I was curious, like, how long are the reels typically, and like, how long does it take you to make one?
We'll shoot one day. Editing will take however long it takes.
Right.
You know, Joel is a really good editor. I mean, it is, and I am so great. Like, I'd have to relearn some things to get to the level at which he can crank out the editing.
How long has he been doing it?
I don't know.
Oh, he's just messing with it? Yeah.
I mean, he has
just
some
CapCut, or is he
things.
like DaVinci?
Yeah, he has CapCut, and I'm sure a few other things. But it's the roles that people fit into. We try to maintain clarity with that, and it gets really rocky sometimes. You know, not like rocky, just like kind of uncomfortable at times where I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but I want to just know what the details are. And then being able to be like yesterday, we were filming. There was another add-on idea that was a good idea. That was just after the fact, we're like, that is pretty good. That's going to be weird. I like that. And then the specific details were holding back from us getting it done. So it was like, well, okay, I understand we could rotate through actors for that spot to make that happen, but John's getting chicken right now. And when chicken gets here, it's going to be difficult to get everybody back in film mode. Like, so I want to do this right now. And I was way more of a bitch about it. I was like, I don't care about your idea. It was like so way dumber and meaner than it should have been. And I was like, can I just say, like, I just don't see that being important. Dang. It is important. It just didn't have the word, you know. Can we just shoot this? And we did. And it was fine. It would have been cooler the other way, but we didn't have the time.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta. It's hard. You gotta make the sacrifices for the larger thing.
I mean, getting 5-6 dudes together to, I don't know, shoot clay pigeons.
Yeah.
That's the funnest thing I could have thought of.
Yeah.
Like that.
Like, can we do that right now? Like, that'd be tricky to get 6 dudes right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
because we're grown ass men.
I always think about that with this podcast. It's like it's impossible to get 3 people over here for this, even most weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, always plan to cancel.
Yeah.
always-
Oh yeah. No, I've learned for sure.
It's great.
I've learned something in doing like video production and in any type of production. Really, it's like something. It's never gonna go exactly to plan. You have to like just be willing to roll with the punches and just accept
And
it's
how about-
not as good as you
How
wanted
about
it to
this?
be.
How about when it does and you do get everything you
Yeah.
want and it sucks?
Yeah. Still not.
And people tell you about how much it sucks, and you're like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You did enjoy that.
Right.
You loved it.
That's
like,
true.
no, I really
That sounds like
didn't
my sex life.
exactly right. I've been putting in the work.
Come
man.
on. There was so much sweat
That was-
equity
yeah,
in this.
You can see me caring.
You're acting like Karen. Okay. No, I love that. You guys had some success on
Dude,
TikTok.
yeah, what?
Yeah, you guys had some success.
What a weird day that was. The weird series, still weird now. Still weird.
Yeah. So what happened? What was that about?
Dude, so the run of jokes that we were doing, this series was about how we were the most massive cowboy fans. It was just crazy. It was just insane stuff. We had a bunch of Zach's dad had a bunch of Cowboys memorabilia. So we're like, this is so much.
Yeah.
If we decorate the house with this, it's going to look really psychotic. And it did.
Fuck! Oh, fuck! What the hell is this, Jeff, bro? You're wearing a goddamn Vikings jersey?
That's not what it looks like, boys. I still
Hey,
like the
you.
Cowboys. I don't get it, Moose. Just tell them I still like the Cowboys.
No,
They're
you
just-
don't. You're wearing a Vikings jersey.
The Vikings are just better. They're 5-0. They're just
I
better
don't
this
believe-
year. And
I
look,
can't believe you did this. This is your legacy. Look at this wall. Daddy's gonna take you out of the wheel if you're wearing this Vikings
Moose,
jersey.
don't-
Benji's terrified.
It did. And then we were like, it's just for the scene. It's just the setting. It's just until the season's
Right.
over. And I'm like, okay. All right. And then one day we were ripped out on mushrooms. And it was like 3 days after we pinned up all these freaking signatures of like Hall of Famers. And I'm tripping balls and I stand up and look around it. I'm like, it's all wrong. This is awful. I don't know any of these guys. They would be so weirded out if they came over here. They saw pictures of themselves. What if all of these guys were in here right now? It's actually a lot of these guys are no longer with us. I'm like, that would be the worst. Yeah. Anyway, so it was a bad vibe, but it was great for turning on the characters. You know, having and so that's what I like about being able to use the house in all the different ways. Like, well, we have it. We have it. And so the video you're talking about,
Okay, let's see.
Lizzie Evans, she came through. We were doing some videos that we just wanted to have a Jewish element because thought that'd be funny. It's pretty topical. They're really popular these days. I don't know if you've heard about the Jews in the news, but they're doing good. They're bigger than Blue's Clues. All right, never mind. All right, sorry.
Guy's still a songwriter.
I need to go. No. Yeah.
So it just turned into, first of all, the most vile, like the stuff that falls on the cutting room floor is a blessing to the world that it's there. Like, because we were still trying to make this look like we're imbeciles, but caring imbeciles. And a lot of the time it just, in order to get like the crazy, well, that's an inappropriate question. You got to go, we're talking about absolute value here.
Yeah.
All right. There's a negative absolute value and a positive. All right. Absolute value is the distance from zero. All right. We're getting away from zero a lot of the time. It's different. Yeah. Sometimes way below. And so it does have energy and stuff. And so there'll be times where if one of the guys wouldn't have said something so absolutely out of pocket, we wouldn't have had that second part as he was coming out of the darkness for whatever lunatic shit he was transmitting. And so, that we had so many crazy Jewish jokes going through that of like, what would these just plumb ignorant guys be saying that are overconfident? Well, so since I'm not a Jew, I'm a Gentile. Like that, and that's Cody. Cody just came up with so many of these bangers.
Is that Cody Lee?
Yeah, Cody Lee. So many bangers through that we were like, oh well, we have to keep going. Anyway, we put that one up, and the one before that, the most views that it had, maybe like 20,000 views, 25,000 views, and we were like over the moon that we broke 10,000 views, like 10,000 people. We're like, I'm thinking about how many people are in my hometown, how many times they'd have to sit and watch it in order to make up that many people. Like, that would be crazy. Some of them would just do it. It would still be on. They'd be asleep.
They'd be agreeing to it.
Yeah. They'd be asleep, but they're good people. They're very helpful. It's way easier to talk like that. Damn it. So then now it's over 1.25 million views and encroaching 100,000 likes and shares and.
Did that? So you guys end up getting a lot of followers and stuff off of that? Where you're at with your
followers?
Yeah,
I had like a 200 followers on the Dipp Heads page. It's just jumped. It's almost like 800 now, and we're not trying that. Like the social media, I don't know what the dance,
the game
that you gotta play, or the hustle. Release this many at this time. That could be real.
Yeah. I mean, I think with it, it's like it could work for someone. Obviously, it did work for some, but it's like I always think about
nobody
that
I
stuff.
respect.
Yeah. I always think about that stuff is like there's no one way to do any of this. You know what I mean? Like you just got to do.
Now, if somebody legit said, "Hey, we like what you're doing. We can buy a bunch of bots, and pump your numbers." How do you feel about that? I'd be like, that sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool. I'm just going to have more view. Yeah. And I don't have to do anything but maybe lose some character.
Right. That's enough.
Can I get more character?
Do I get it back?
Does it come back later after I have a lot of money? Don't think it ever does.
Well, the funny thing about character is
Yeah. I hate that about character.
So how did you and the Dipp Heads get together? Like, what sparked the creative?
Man, what were we doing?
Mushroom.
We were just, we were being, okay, so I met Zach, at the Burt Kreischer movie. The Machine movie.
Oh, nice. Zach Hubbard?
Yeah. And I had been kind of on like a comedy hiatus for a little while, right? And just working. I loved working in the Science Museum. It was just taking me away from things that I wanted to do. Yeah. And so I just go to this movie with my buddy Tristan that I was talking about. And there's this guy, Zach, he's in the theater, and he's handing flasks and vapes out to strangers. And he's like, we're having a good time. He brought a date. He didn't like her. He was like, whatever, lady. Like, and he's just full on Zach. And I'm like, who the fuck is this annoying motherfucker? And he's like, hey, and he's like, you want some tequila? I'm like, I do. I'm having a kind of a bad attitude. Honestly, thank you. So we're drinking, and then they move us into another theater, right?
Yeah.
So then, while they're moving us into the other theater, he wants to sit with us, I'm like, sure, hell yeah, dude, let's give it. Still just like, this guy's a lot. This guy's a lot to deal with. Oh my God. It's kind of annoying, and I don't know anything about him. And he was like, hey, you want to take your shirt off with me? Just like Bert. I'm like, I'm like, and mind you, I'm wearing a shirt that looks like I'm not wearing a shirt, thinking that hack ass shit is gonna be enough for like 6 on a Thursday. Like this is fine. And it wasn't fine. Zach was like, well, I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna get a picture with me with my shirt off in front of that sign. I'm like, well, then I'm a huge loser hack that's wearing a fake shirt. This is worse. This is your fault. Why you gotta be this cool? All right. Taking off my shirt. Now I'm shirtless with a stranger going down to the front. People are cheering. There's people cheering. I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening.
I love that.
And just as we're like, yeah, this is dope. Look up and there's like all of these college guys are like taking their shirts off and joining us.
What?
And they were all jacked and in great shape. And I look at him and I'm like, well, this is just not cool. This is going to look worse. And it looked very funny. There's some pictures on Instagram of us doing that.
funny.
And then I was like, have you ever done comedy? And then right as that conversation was starting, somebody yells, Slaughter! from up at the top. And it's Graham.
Oh shit!
It's Graham from the comedy club and the bartender. And I'm like, great. This is great. This is perfect. Well, actually, this is kind of great. This is great. I look like a lunatic out and about doing comedy guy shit. This is great.
Yeah.
And have you ever done comedy? No, but I've always wanted to. And then we had that classic back and forth for weeks where he'd just send me jokes.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, nice, that's pretty clever. We're not friends enough for me to be like, what, do you want to suck my dick or something? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
To which that took like a couple of more days for me to say that, not for him to do that.
No. I was about to say, was he good? That's it.
No.
Tell him to text me some jokes, would you?
Lazy blowjobs. Each one of these dip heads is lazy giving blowjobs. Say it twice.
I'm sorry to hear that. But.
Yeah, it's all right. You can't get any good help anywhere.
So you met Zach.
That's what
you
dip
guys fell in
heads.
love.
It's not.
It's not. My dad's a preacher.
He's not.
So you got together with Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how'd you get the rest?
Oh, I
of the crew
dragged
in?
his ass out of the comedy club.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other story in between
Yeah.
that. His dog died. And then he told me, and then I was like, yeah, I think you got a really good bit here about your dead dog. He was like, are you serious? I go, yes. And then he wrote it, and it got some laughs. And then that was, he was just like, oh, cool. Feels really good to just like go find funny people and drag them on stage and be like, and then be like, all right,
Yeah.
just do the thing, just keep being you, just
Yeah.
go.
Well, I was out at the Chiba Hut mic on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
JJ Wood is trying to get a new mic going at Chiba Hut on Friday, so we'll have a Friday mic. So be sure to head out if you see that and support that. But they was packed already.
It was wild, man.
And they were giving away the Tom Segura tickets.
Dude,
so, yeah, that was pretty cool. But we all were hanging out outside after.
Yeah.
And they were just, them going back and forth, all the dip heads, they were just joking and playing. I was like, they're writing right now.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it is.
I was
Yeah.
like, they're just going off. I was like, this is great. This is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys cultivate that energy? You kind of just do that?
Yeah, we're all a bunch of insecure weirdos.
Yeah.
So once you find a bunch of insecure weirdos that you can swing away with,
Yeah.
and you know that like, I'm not gonna cross a line with this guy.
Yeah.
That's gonna hurt our relationship and make them mad. And we're gonna fight about that. You're like, no, you can absolutely lick the darkest part of my butthole if you're offended by that. Okay? good day. Like, all right, you guys want coffee? All right, I'll be right back. But then also having the hardest times ever.
So
Being able
Joel is insecure. Joel seems very confident.
isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
That must be put on. Yeah.
No, he's a funny guy.
Yeah. He's super
We're
funny.
we're all in the same kind of boats. We're all like kind of. I want to be funny. I want to be really funny.
Yeah.
How do we do this, and like not have to, be afraid. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's,
Well, you guys are doing great. Like I said, I was in there. I was just like, man, this is fun. This feels like riffing on stage. You guys are just going off. Yeah. And so you guys bounce
like
off each other really well.
improv rooms. You have like the worst thing about improv class is the warm up games that they make you do. They make you feel purposefully look like a dork, right? And so like I gotta go in there. I'm gonna hand you an imaginary thing, and you're like, I feel kind of stupid. I wish we could just get to work and be stupid and catch it as we're doing it, you know. But you still need that trust to be able to know that your buddy is going to yes and instead of no but.
Right.
And then even then, if that happens, you gotta have another friend be like, no, we yes and here. We're a yes and family.
Yeah.
Now
like
we
a
have
cult.
to yes and you're no but.
Yeah.
Do you know that? That's very difficult. It's going to be really meta here in a second. We're going to be actually mean to you. I'm calling your mom for this bit.
So funny, dude. Yeah. All right. So how does it feel to have like kind of a crew or brotherhood in comedy? It seems like you guys really kind of help each other out, push each other up.
Yeah.
You guys work out bits together.
Yeah.
play.
They'll be like, well, I mean, sometimes it's like, you have something good and you don't want to tell them. You're like, I know I want their real reaction from my homies.
Yeah.
From this joke. I know not only is it good, it's going to be good for them. And if I tell them now, I won't get to have that very special, like, sandcastle moment.
Yeah.
Where, okay, you only get one of those. So, like, yeah.
Oh, that's a good way of putting it. It really is. Yeah. Magic and comedy are sandcastle moments. Yeah.
Oh, and that's the comedy in our, like, day to day, like the DMV. Like, you want to be a real comic, go make the DMV fun.
Yeah.
Go hang out at the DMV, like, oh, how we doing?
Yeah.
What number are you? You want to trade? No? Okay. Can we change this TV? like,
Law and Order's on.
I hate this. Yeah. This one's just numbers changing.
Dude. All right. So you good? You want to wrap it up a little?
What else?
Here?
Yeah,
'Cause
dude.
we're about
I could do this
1:30.
all day, dude.
Yeah.
I
But I've
got no
a few
voice.
more
I could
left.
do this for days.
Yeah.
I can still
We
go.
appreciate you coming, man.
Oh man,
We
I'll
really
do. Yeah, this is the best.
So a couple questions I have that's left. We'll just kind of get this rounded out. Is now I'm really inspired by you guys, by the Dipp heads, the effort that you guys put in. You guys are taking care of each other. You guys, support each other. You support John Groth's mic on Monday at Thunderbuds.
When I can.
In Moore. Yeah.
When I can,
it's a tough one, but Monday's a tough day. But I mean, the fact that Groth is really putting his foot forward.
This is you can brute force your way into being great.
Yeah.
You really can, because with new comedy, he's been in it like a year, or
I think
he's
less than that.
a year. Yeah. So he's in his first year of comedy, and the amount of work that he puts in on all of these things in a relational level. And if you think about John Groth, he's never said anything coarse, mean, rude, ever to anybody that didn't have a great joke next to it. If it was his opinion and it was like, this is my opinion, you'd be like, damn, dude. He still has those great moments. But out and about, how he carries himself is a marketing genius.
Oh, nice.
He is infiltrating, and he just seems like this happy-go-lucky, goofy goofball guy. There's always, which he is.
Yeah.
That's still very real. But the parties he puts on, I have henna from a Bollywood party he put on.
Whoa, really?
Yeah,
Oh, I
this
didn't
was
know that.
last Saturday.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a chef at a hospital. He's a chef at a hospital. how much more service industry.
Yeah.
You can't go berate your table. Guy's losing a gallbladder.
But yeah, Groth, I've seen.
dude.
You guys put that together. You guys take care of each other in that way.
He's our dungeon master.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's the one. Yeah,
he's our
the
DM for D&D.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's so thoughtful and like, yeah, everything. You're like, oh, nice touch. What the hell?
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, there's no room for somebody to be like, what a try hard. You're like, you can leave. You don't have to be a part of this.
Now I see why Zach wasn't the one. It was John the whole time. That was that was the love interest right there. We've been watching him, and he's been doing good. You know, it's tough. When you first start out, how hard it is because you don't. I think once you do a bunch of mics, that's when you finally go, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And then it stops beating you up a little bit, But I did want to ask you this, and then so you do working with kids, being an educator, in the classroom. How does that help being in stage in front of adults?
You're always bombing.
You're
Oh,
with the kids.
Yeah. I mean, it's depending on the age group. Sometimes they always love you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you come in there. If you have to get a kid to do a thing, right? Like learn a thing. Hey, we're gonna work on stop motion animation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can make stop motion animation really boring and tedious.
Mm-hmm.
You really can, because the act of stop motion animation
It's a lot
is
tedious.
inherently tedious
You're
and
right.
boring. And for I spent an hour and a half for. Yeah, but did you see how it looked alive? You're like, yeah. I watched it do that for an hour and a half. Steadily got there. It's really exhausting, right? Well, you got to have some sort of a vision thing to put in there, and where are we going with this? Attention grabbing, getting kids to not talk while you're talking.
Yeah, I mean this sounds like I'm open mic.
Yeah,
to
it
me.
does sound like an open mic.
It's the whole time. Oh boy. And so whenever I had the opportunity to leave the museum and more focused on this, that it's just across the board. It's doing better for my community, I feel, and better for my soul. Not that it was a problem there. It was just my problem. Sometimes there's only so many hours in a day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's what I run into a lot. I text David out of my frustration yesterday because I went and did a show on Friday, and then I had to get up and go rewire a house, and I was just like, I'm so tired of this crap getting in the way of my comedy.
Right.
And there's some people out there that they don't have that excuse of I had to wire a house. They just didn't go.
Yeah.
They just what happened? Man, I'm just not really liking my middle setup joke for my closing joke. Like, and that's why you didn't go? Yeah, you shouldn't go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, nothing inspires me more than manual labor,
Dude.
So I'm like, I got to get out of this.
One of these days, baby. Do you have any cool stories about like wiring houses and
Oh yeah, I've got a few. There was one time a guy hid a very realistic skeleton
That's just clean fun right there.
in the attic space where I was working.
That's a good guy.
Like if you go into the attic, because most attics are in the garage, and this guy had a really nice house, so his attic was basically like a whole nother home. Like that's how much money this guy had. Is that his attic space was the equivalent of my house? A good 900 square foot.
That's how you get squatters.
But that's how you get squatters.
I'm not gonna go check that attic, but once a year.
He goes like this. He goes, and he's kind of a goofy guy. He was fun. He was like, when we were talking, he was like really fun and silly. I was like, oh, this is my kind of guy. So we're jamming, we're talking. 30 minutes, we aren't even working. We're just talking and hanging out. And then we go into the garage. He's like, all right, I'm gonna leave you alone. He pulls down the garage thing and he like turns on the light to the attic. And he goes, all right, man, you should be good. Hold on a second. And then he like walks off. he comes back. He goes, yeah, go ahead. And then just leaves. And then you hear a bunch of rustling in this room. I was like, what the hell is that, dude? So I was like, all right, anyways, well, I'll get started. Put my headphones in. I'm crawling back there. And we're replacing this exhaust fan in a bathroom, right? So it's all the way in the back away. And then, so I'm standing there and I'm undoing. So you got the thing about the nice houses is they have like 2 foot of insulation, blow-in insulation. So you have to kind of swim through it to get to everything. And then I have to move everything out and make different piles so I can get to this box. As I'm moving things out, the skeleton, because it's yellow. It's not even. It's like it's not a white. He was like yellow. It had weight to it.
This is respect.
It was like I was like I freaked out immediately. And then he, right whenever I freaked out, underneath takes the broom and boom, boom, boom.
Nice touch, bro. That's nice.
What the hell?
After the anger subsides, and the genuine, just real. Ooh.
No, immediately because you knew from the bottom. Like I just busted out laughing, dude.
Like,
I was like,
bah! So then I kicked a hole right through the ceiling.
dude,
we both laughed.
No, but I shit. Like when he hit that, I was like, oh no. But yeah, that was one.
Dude,
that was a good one. Okay, so what are your? We just kind of have this is how we end up. What's some goals with comedy? What does success look like to you?
Oh yeah. So we want to find a space to do some things in, right? Some events, some coordinating things. And if we can do that full time, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Have you tried contacting the venue?
Well, I mean, it's the space where, like, you know, don't want to speak it out of existence, but like a nonprofit, kind of like a like 501c3, you know, and then getting grants for doing community event type of stuff. But there's a lot of red tape in that. So like this is one of those like that would be so neat, you know, because that can turn into after school programs. This ultimate vision of how fun would it be to, I guess, motivate jackass kids like myself and, you know, like ourselves from like we were growing up doing a type 5, you know, in Miss Short's psychology class junior year right after Katrina.
Is that your girlfriend?
No. She didn't like being called.
That was a type 5 right there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but
Sorry.
it's good. But but those moments, and then if you can get the kid to turn in the joke to the teacher instead of popping off and interrupting the lesson, and find a way to motivate that to an after-school program, right? Where it's like something like that, to where like, oh man, this lady's lucky that I'm not using my powers for evil today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it all comes back to whatever the thing was. I just think it'd be really fun to teach comedy and improv from that kind of level of you're here because you are a bunch of jackasses. We're gonna.
Well, it's like I think it's like that
And
thing.
we desperately need you.
But going back to the
The
earlier,
world is scared of you. I want to
Yeah,
train
right.
you and build you up.
yeah, it's like you're like Professor X.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Yeah, the Dipp future. That would be pretty awesome.
But yeah,
I love that.
but that is like we were saying earlier about like not having a place for the silliness, or you know, the classroom is not necessarily the place for it, but you're giving them that place for it.
You're not a cut up. You're bored.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and now that you mention that, wouldn't it be great to have a place like almost like, oh, you sent them to detention,
Yeah.
but the detention is an open mic. It's
Yeah.
It's karate class.
like people are getting their friends in trouble on purpose to have more people at the open mic.
Oh, dude, and like, how awesome would that be if, like, you know, the kid who's like thought that he's been funny for so long, but he was just an asshole.
Right, yeah.
Then he gets to go up in front of a packed house. Yeah, he's like, and so then I said, "Fuck you, mom." And everyone's like, "Oof." Ooh. And then obviously we'd be laughing in the back. The green room howling.
Yeah.
I told him not to say that. I told him I was going to bomb.
Oh, look, he's learning.
There goes.
Okay, and then
Learning
real quick, where can
hurts.
everyone find you, man? Where can everybody find you?
Man, just if you see me, say hey. Like,
Take your shirt off.
Yeah, open mics, Instagram.
Yeah. What's your Instagram handle?
Mine is the Holy Guinea Pope.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a
I
little,
follow you on there.
and this is, I was a pic before I ever started a thing. That was literally a picture on my wall of a guinea pig dressed as the Pope. When Instagram came out, you got to get an Instagram, and I was, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be the Holy Guinea
There
Pope,
it is.
and then on this rock I have built a church. Sort of. It's not. I have not. I have hung out. And it's mostly everybody else getting stoked about an idea,
Yeah.
and then other people getting stoked on that
Right.
idea. And there's this line in a song called the song's called Wooden Heart, I think, but it's by this band called Listener. And in the line he says something like, my fingers in your veins shocking each other back to life. That's how I feel like in these group contexts. It's
Yeah.
very, very important to where, because I'll have a great idea that is trash on Friday. You know, like, you know, and then we're like, no, that was a good idea. We're working on that idea.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you.
It's another 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, thanks, man. We really appreciate you coming out. You know, we're going to see more of you. We'll put you on some stuff, hang out, go watch it. Something I love that you do is you share everybody's stuff. You
Yeah.
love comedy
Yeah.
for what it is, and you just love people.
Yeah.
So,
Oklahoma, man.
yeah,
Like,
thanks again,
yeah,
dude. Love you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thanks for
if we're
coming.
not moving, we're staying real hard.
Yeah. That's right.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks,
All
guys.
right,
We
well,
appreciate it.
See you later. Have it.